Good morning, Cardini. It's RJ back with another video, so let's get to it. Today's random Mike Schmidt item of the day from 2005, the Diamond Kings red framed parallel version. Red foil there, and it is framed. The Diamond Kings that year did look like this, where they had the player in a bit of a banner format. This is obviously a legend because Mike had been retired and elected to the Hall of Fame long before this. And in fact, there were actually two Mike Schmidt cards in this set. He had, well, this is actually a subset called the Hall of Fame Heroes. So HH25, but he also had every parallel, the base set plus all the parallel versions come in two formats. One with a color image, the other, for whatever reason, they just did a sepia tone variation. So this is the red framed card number 25. I think it was card number 45 is the sepia tone version. But that's your Diamond Kings from 2005. Red foil, red parallel, red frame parallel. Today's random baseball item of the day, thinking about how great the Phillies are or remembering great Phillies teams of the past. Have here from 1993, the Phillies yearbook. This is obviously 1993 was the year they made it into the World Series. Frankly, anybody with a half a brain knew Lenny Dykstra should have been the MVP that year instead of Barry Bonds. Dykstra had an incredible season and led our team into the World Series, but Bonds had a decent offensive output, but didn't go anywhere with the Pirates, so it was a joke that he got the MVP nod over Dykstra, but there you go. The better yearbook, though, is 1994 because it has the ring on the cover. So I have two replica rings in my collection. A real ring, even a staff ring, is like 5 figures, mostly because they're real. I mean, it's real gold, it's real diamonds, it's real jewels. So the intrinsic value to the item itself is so significant. The added provenance with a player or staff is just bumps it up that much more. So even a staff ring of a championship club these days is a 5-figure item. I'll never have that, but I do have two replica rings. I limit myself when buying, because there's a lot of options out there if you're a fan of any team for the replica rings. I'm only going to keep in my collection rings for the teams that win the World Series. So I only have a 1980 ring and a 2008 ring in my collection. So I'm not going to ever waste my time trying to get that ring. So just saying. Today's trivia question, sticking with the theme this month of this day in baseball history. This day in baseball history, 1960. So June the 17th, 1960. This Hall of Famer becomes the 4th player to hit career home run number 500. Name him. Should be a very easy one. What you're playing for, I'm still giving away my Top Gallery 2003 Hall of Fame edition cards. 4 Hall of Fame Baltimore Orioles cards for you here. Nice Frank Robinson. Nice Earl Weaver, the manager. Jim Palmer and Brooksy. So 4 legendary Baltimore Orioles up for grabs. If you can send me the correct answer, just shoot me an email. I'll include my email in the description below, along with a repeat of that question. You will have today no hard answer. We will pick a winner on Sunday, all right? Good luck to everybody on that. Today, what I want to show off, I was thinking about what do I want to show off, what do I want to show off, what do I want to show off? And I decided to just show off some cards that I like. They don't necessarily have anything to do with each other. It's kind of like, shout out to Shane, Shoebox Legends, just going through the cheese box, as it were, because I keep these cards off to the side. They don't have a particular place in my collection other than I like them and they're standalone cards. So, starting off, 1991, Upper Deck came out with its first SP, the short print card. Obviously, everybody has a Jordan in their collection, I think. It's certainly not an uncommon card, even though it was an SP. But the lesser available or lesser collected cards are the hologram cards. Upper Deck obviously was well known for putting that hologram on the back of their card, but they started there was a big craze in the early 1990s, people putting out hologram cards, and this is Upper Deck's Hank Aaron version. I think this was the second one. Actually, this is the one came out in 1992, I believe. No, this was HH1. Okay. So it was HH1, came out in 1991, honoring the Heroes of Baseball program they had going on there. You can see what it says. They actually were going to have exhibition games all throughout the year in different stadiums with different veteran, Hall of Fame, retired, fans, all kinds of great players, people year round. It was big when they first started doing this. It was really great. And I'm just so sad that they couldn't keep up that program, because I thought it was a lot of fun. And the next year, HH2, it was interesting. The Hank Aaron one was a little bit more interesting, but the Ted Williams right here that you see was just a reprint of the header card for the Ted Williams Heroes set that they inserted in 91, or sorry, 92. So, but that was HH number 2. So I'm happy to have both Heroes cards in my collection. They stopped after that. The SPs went to 6. They had 6 SP cards, but they only did 2. They only did 2 hologram cards. So another card I have sitting aside. It is technically part of a collection, but I put it out because I'm trying to set aside cards that have real meaning to the world of baseball, and to me personally, if not to the world of baseball. This is an awesome card that Upper Deck put out in 1991. It's Carlton Fisk, and I believe that's Robin Ventura, but don't quote me on that. Let's see on the back, who is it? Groundbreaking. Does it say who this is? I don't know that it says who it is on the cover. I know it's Fisk is the one guy. I thought the other guy was Robin Ventura, but it doesn't say. But it's where they're building new Comiskey Park. And what people forget is, people always think Camden Yards was the first of the throwback style stadiums. Truth is, New Comiskey was before Camden Yards. And Upper Deck put out this great thing. Field of Dreams had just come out, made people nostalgic for old style uniforms. But for whatever reason, the old Chicago White Sox uniform that they used in Field of Dreams really was the impetus for the throwback style uniform craze. And they put this, I think the Sox had a throwback jersey night, which is why these two players are in their throwback jerseys. And then they took them across town to pose in the, I'm not sure if this is the other one being torn down or this is the new one being built. I think this is the new one being built because it says groundbreaking, but just an awesome picture of, the Comiskey Park and being built, and these two not legendary players. Fisk is a legendary player, of course, but standing in the old uniforms in the middle of that. I love that one. A lot of these cards you may have seen before. I love this card. The Conlon collection is one of my favorite sets, and this is a picture of Charles Conlon, the photographer who did all of the work of getting all those awesome baseball photographs. Had his own photograph taken at one time. So I keep this one separate just to always remind me of the person who was Charles Conlon. A lot of people, it's funny, I was listening to somebody critique baseball movies the other day, and there was a shot or a scene where the photographers were like just barely outside of the area of the batter's box while the game was going on, snapping photographs. And the guy was like, "Oh, that's so fake. That's so fake. They would never be there." Actually, that was accurate. If you look at old style video film reel of actual games from like going back before the war. The photographers literally were just off the baselines, just outside of the death, blast area for foul balls, but they were right there. They were right on top of the action, snapping photos. So Conlon was right there at sometimes getting his awesome pictures. It was not unheard of for the photographers to be right there. So I keep this one separated just to always have a chance to look at it and remind myself of how great Charles Conlon was and how important he was to the hobby. This one, 1997, technically it's a collector's choice card from Upper Deck. It was right after Richie Ashburn died suddenly. Richie died. I think in this particular case they were on the road. I want to say in Chicago, and he never came out of his hotel room that morning, and they went in and found he had died overnight in his hotel room, unfortunately. But this card came out soon after, issued by Upper Deck. It's a 1-of-1 card. There's, it's not part of a set or anything. It says number 1 there, but Richie's uniform number was number 1. Again, this was not part of the Collector's Choice set that year. It's a standalone card that they issued later. But I always keep this, obviously, to remind myself about Richie Ashburn, how great he was for the Phillies. So another card I like here. I don't know how I acquired this one because I don't remember sending this one in. Maybe I got it as a gift or in a collection or something. But O-Pee-Chee card from 1987. Signed by Dave Dravecky. Now, there's a huge crease in it. I don't know if you guys can see. If I'm right down the middle, the whole thing was folded like right here. You can see that crease in there. But Dave Dravecky, famously, he got some kind of cancer in his arm. It was real bad. And he had to stop pitching for a while he got it treated. It was actually his pitching arm. Now, he had a comeback, and then he had his first start back. He had an amazing game. I think he had like practically a complete game shutout. He was fantastic. Everybody was just thrilled. They were like, "Oh my gosh, he's back! It's a miracle kind of thing." The very next start in the middle of that game, he threw a pitch, and the effort to throw the pitch broke his arm. It didn't hit it on anything. Just the force of the pitch on his arm broke his arm, and he went down in a heap in serious pain. And they found out that the cancer was still there. It was, unstoppable. So he's had his arm amputated, not just his arm, up past the shoulder. So it's a very odd look for the man, unfortunately today. But I always keep this one to remember Dave Dravecky and his inspirational story. He's still around today. I don't think he has passed today, but I'm not certain of that. But I always remember the great story, and just seeing him. You can still see images, I think, on YouTube of that pitch where his arm breaks in the middle of the motion, and it's not a pretty picture, but I always keep that card to remind me of Dave Dravecky. Another interesting card I like. Got this, I think, off of John Jabs' channel. It's the Derek Jeter variation card from 2007. I'm pretty sure this is 2007. Yeah, 2007. It is the short print with, they put Mickey Mantle in the dugout and President Bush in the stands. The normal card obviously doesn't have those two players or two people in the image. It's just the exact image without them. It's not numbered any differently. I guess perhaps as we know in the modern days, there's a code number down here that's a little different, but I don't know. I don't think they have the code number back in 2007. It's just an awesome variation. So I keep this one separate and in my collection. Lastly, just another one more card to show you. Another autograph card, but it's one of my favorite autograph cards. A player very few people have ever heard of in their life, if at all. Mike Sandlock. Now, who was Mike Sandlock? Again, Obviously, he was a catcher for the Pirates. This is his 1953 card. It's actually his Topps Archives, not a real card. But the question is, why do I have a Mike Sandlock autograph? This was one of my first TTM autographs, and let me explain. I used to be a subscriber to Sports Collectors Digest back in the late 80s, early 90s when I got back into cards in a big way. And one day there was an article about Mike Sandlock, and they literally said he would sign through the mail. A lot of times when they did interviews in that magazine, they would say who was willing to do TTMs. And Mr. Sandlock said he would. So I'm younger there. I'm in my early 20s at that time. And I wrote up a letter real quick, praising Mike Sandlock, saying, I don't know you, but thanks for playing ball, would love an autograph, yada, 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 put a bunch of stuff in there. And sure enough, he sent it in. Now, this is his 1953 Topps card. You can imagine he was pretty old back in the early 90s when I sent this to him. He has to be deceased by now. But it was one of the first TTMs I ever did. And I've never let go of this card. I still have it. I'm not sure how many people out there have a Mike Sandlock autograph. I mean, if you're a person who is a diehard collector of trying to get an autograph of everybody who ever played the game, I have a Mike Sandlock, and you don't. Nah. But it's just a cool thing I keep in my collection for that reason, that it was my first TTM, and I was able to get her card back. So there you have it. That's all I have for you today. Just some random cheese box cards. Sorry for stealing a name there, Shane, but hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please consider like, subscribing, commenting, and all that jazz. I really do appreciate your support as I try my best to support everybody else in this great card community, all right? Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again on Wednesday for more, and take care.